Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we'll be reviewing this book called Normal People, and it's written by Sally Rooney. So Normal People was published in 2018 and has received an immense amount of praise. And Sally Rooney is an author from Ireland, and she's just 30 years old, but she's incredibly accomplished in the world of contemporary literature. So I know that her new book, Beautiful World, Where Are You, will be available on September the 7th. So I'm planning on doing a review of her books, a series of reviews of her books, and starting with this one. So the first one will be Normal People, and the second one will be Conversations with Friends, and the third one will be the anticipated book, Beautiful World, Where Are You? So if you like Sally Rooney or her novels, then subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any related content. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie to you, but I did not like this book as much as I thought I would, given that it has won some awards and it's also longlisted for the 2018 Man Booker Prize. So it's not amazing to me. It's not like mind-blowing boosh like that, but it's also not terrible. So my feelings for a book are kind of like on the fence. So the author talks about the quite contemporary lifestyle of the two protagonists, and I think the main reason why a lot of people like this book is because they can relate to this kind of contemporary lifestyle. Like when you're in college, you're figuring everything out, you're confused about everything, you want to fit in, and they talk about mental health as well. And there are some parts of the book which I can relate to, like going to college, trying to fit in and everything, but there are also parts of the book which I can't understand because I've never experienced, like sleeping with other people randomly, like college life, and talking about richer or poorer people. I can't relate to that, and maybe that's why I didn't enjoy this book as much as I would, because some parts are relatable and some parts are not relatable for me. So this book talks about Connell, which is the male protagonist, and also Marion, which is the female protagonist, and the background of these protagonists are kind of cliche because let's face it, okay, Connell is poor, Marion's rich. We see a lot of that in other movies or books. And then Connell is popular, Marion is not, and then they actually get together. We see that in a lot of movies and also a lot of books as well. So for me, the background of these characters are kind of cliche, a little bit basic, but the events that go on in the book are not cliche for me. So it's quite contemporary. So like what I said, they talk about the lifestyle they lead, and it's okay. See, I don't know what to feel about this book, and that's why I can't fathom into words what I should talk about. Book does not have huge plots, so it's kind of like Haruki Murakami's writing style, since I've read his book Norwegian Wood, how he talks about daily routine things, the mundane things. And Sally Rooney's writing style is not as descriptive as Haruki Murakami, which is fine, but I think what makes Sally Rooney's writing quite interesting is how she talks about the intertwine of the two protagonists' lives. So like Marion has her life and Connell has her life, but somehow their lives merge together, and that's what makes the book interesting. So a little background on the story. So basically, to sum up the story, it's basically two damaged individuals finding comfort in each other. So a lot of people said that this is a romance novel, or it's like a love story of how Marianne and Connell, despite their social class and despite all the struggles, end up together in the end. But to me, it's not like a romance thing. It's more like a novel talking about, as teenagers, how you deal with growing up, going to college, struggling in life, and then also finding out that fitting in isn't everything. So Mary and Connell, they do care about each other and they do sleep together, but I don't think it's a romance thing. I feel like the relationship is kind of more like friends with benefits, if you know what I mean. In some sense, the book does talk about mental health and also about dealing with trauma. So Marianne has this thing where she likes guys to hurt her or to hit her or to insult her when they're having sex, which stems from a traumatic childhood of how her brother and how her mother treated her. So, okay, speaking of her brother, Alan, I really, really hate him. He's like the most hated character in this book because he's like generally just a horrible person, and also her mother. Like, I just don't get it. How, like, Alan actually told Marianne to go kill herself, and he always hits her, he always insults her. Like, okay, let's just throw the idea of siblings insulting each other away, but just as like a general human being, when you say these words to other people, like, why don't you just kill yourself? Like, are you mad? Are you out of your mind? That's crazy. And her mother is actually a pretty terrible person herself because she doesn't stop her son from saying these things to her daughter, but she just says, oh, don't encourage her. Like, what kind of response even is that? Like, do you really want your daughter to kill herself or anything? Because that's just being a terrible mother or like a terrible person in general. And their families, it's just so weird. Like, I feel like her mother and her brother just hates Marianne, and I think that's where Marianne gets this feeling of feeling worthless, of how she feels like being mistreated is the only way that's suitable for her because that's how she's been treated since she was growing up, and that's really toxic. And also Connell, how he's just really messed up, dealing with college life, and how he hates the people there, he hates college life there, and then he just takes up medication to deal with depression. One of the more popular themes discussed about this book is social class. So I know a lot of people talk about how because Connell's from a poor background, Marianne's from a richer background, and it kind of symbolizes something, which I think it does, but to Marianne, it doesn't really matter to her. And I think for Connell, it's just his insecurities stopping him from being his true self sometimes because he comes from a less privileged background. And the book does talk a little bit about social class, but I don't really see a bigger picture that Sally Rooney is trying to point out, because I just see sometimes Connell being insecurity about his background, and some college students talking about whose parents are richer doesn't really paint the bigger picture for me. And I can't really relate to that as well because I've never seen that happen in my university. Like, it's not something people talk about. People talk about a lot of stuff, but I've never heard people talk about whose families are richer. Or maybe people in my university are just nicer in general, which is a good thing. But I do get the point that the author is trying to point out, or maybe it's just me speculating, and it's that insecurities may arise due to one's social background, and some may care about it, some don't, but in the end it doesn't really matter. Like, these things don't matter because it's superficial, it's materialistic, and it doesn't really determine what kind of person you are. Like, for Marianne, she's from a wealthier family, and you may think that, oh, because she's wealthier her family's gonna be better, but her family members are terrible people. And for Connell, he's from a less privileged family, like he's from a poor background, but his mother is really loving, she's really caring, she raised Connell on her own. And being poor doesn't mean that you have a bad personality, you know, like your social background does not determine who you are, you determine who you are. So I give this book a 3-star review. It's not high, it's not low, but I like the book. What the point that I like about the book is that it's contemporary and it's also realistic. So a lot of people might like it because they can relate to it, but like what I said, I don't really relate to it that much because it's not something that I've experienced before. So that's why maybe I can't relate to it that much, and it's not the author's fault, it's not anybody's fault, it's just like my personal taste. So I know that a lot of people do like this book, so I don't know whether I should recommend it or not, but if a lot of people do like it, maybe you will like it too. So you can go and give it a try and see if Sally Rooney's writing is what you like. And if you do like her writing, I know her new book is coming, so you can definitely check that out as well. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, you know, for more content like this, and I'll see you in the next video, which most likely will be conversations with friends, or maybe not, but that video is definitely coming. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye!